is the penultimate stop on the FIA World Touring Car Championship calendar. Shanghai in China, the home of the Chinese Grand Prix. And it's the first time that the World Touring Cars have raced here. Last year, the Shanghai race was at the small circuit of Tianma. This is on the monstrous Grand Prix circuit. They use almost all of the full Grand Prix track, 4.6 kilometres of length for this World Touring Car circuit. Well, good morning, everybody, from a slightly moist and overcast Shanghai. Often the case that it is a little bit smoggy close to the circuit. We are getting ready for the start of the first of two periods of qualifying for the World Touring Car Championship. I'm Martin Haven, sitting alongside me, Harry Volkard. Bit of Movember action going on there with Tom Chilton. He's obviously growing a little bit of a tash. Good morning, Harry. And for the drivers this morning, there's going to be an awful lot of flat-out running in top gear, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a massive straight down the back here, and I think we'll see a lot of towing, especially between teammates and allies on the grid, because it's going to make a big difference down that back straight. You could make, I mean, some circuits you can make sort of 3 or 4 tenths difference over one lap just by getting in the air that the car in front punches.
Well, last year the circuit at Tianma was a late stand-in and was very much on the border of being a bit too small, even for cars of the speed of the World Touring Car Championship. You definitely wouldn't want to have been racing high-powered single-seaters around it. But here, this track, well, slipstreaming in qualifying, but also in the races, might be very interesting. We've got a whole host of new entries to conjure with, perhaps the most prestigious of whom is the return again of former British Touring Car champion Colin Turkington. At the top of the pile in terms of points, Yvonne Muller and Rob Huff once more tied on points. They went to Japan, to Suzuka, tied on points, and they left Suzuka tied on points, car number 1 and car number 2 over the last couple of seasons. And their teammate Alain Menu, 34 points behind with 110 still on offer. You came up with a great stat. There are a whole bunch of new cars, among which many are Chevrolets. And Harry, Chevrolet, the most numerous car on the grid.
Yeah, I think for the first time ever in World Touring Car history, there's more Chevrolets on the grid than there are BMWs. And that includes the Lucetti, which is obviously towards the end of the grid, but that's cars with a Chevrolet logo on the front, not necessarily cruisers.
An ex-Harry Volkard Lucetti, that shouldn't be raced, that should be in a museum somewhere, shouldn't it? Looking here at Colin Turkington, the all-yellow Aviva sponsorship for the Ulsterman, and habitually they have managed to find sponsorship to come out to these Eastern races from Aviva Kofco, being run under the auspices of West Surrey Racing. Dick Bennett's the man with whom he was so successful in rear-wheel drive touring cars in the British Championship, but Colin did start his career as a front-drive touring car driver, so he is coming home, if you like, as is Swiss Freddie Bart, who makes his return.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Lewis.
Tony, what an honor. You need to have a go in my car.
Oh, it's awesome. Be fun to get you in the stock car, too.
I've been dying to.
Looks awful small from here.
I'll give you a hand. Is this the right way I'm doing it? Okay. You got insurance? I feel like I'm going to get hurt in this thing.
I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'll be in here the rest of the day if you need me, so.
True champions trust the synthetic technology of Mobil 1. With over 100 Grand Prix wins, many drivers, one oil. Mobil 1.
Shanghai. There are many reasons to visit the cultural center of Eastern Asia and China's most vibrant city. And this November, there's yet another. The FIA World Touring Car Championship debuts at the Shanghai International Circuit. Come and share the excitement of a weekend of unforgettable racing in an unforgettable city. The FIA WTCC in Shanghai, from the 2nd to the 4th of November.
Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
Green light at pit exit means the first 20-minute period of qualifying is underway. Chevrolet, the most numerous manufacturer on the grid, with 9 cars compared to 8 for BMW, 7 for Seat. 2 for Honda. Ooh, has Gabriele Tarquini got his new Honda? No, he hasn't. Thiago Monteiro has. Tarquini is still in a Seat Leon, but there is a Honda Accord Euro R, one of our occasional drivers. We've got a flock of drivers from Hong Kong, Macau and China joining in, as well as in the support race program, two or both parts of the Chinese Touring Car Championship. So we've got drivers from the Chinese, Hong Kong and Macau Touring Car Championships here in a variety of different machinery. Some a little bit vulnerable. Franz Engstler, as ever, running a good rental fleet here. He's got cars that have run in this championship in the Far East for 2 or 3 seasons now, as Ivan Muller heads out on track. Now, Harry, using almost the full Grand Prix circuit here, but just turning right through a little wriggle, turn 4 and 4A, where the Grand Prix circuit goes left for 3 corners, but it is predominantly a circuit that has got long straights, and that is going to be, it's a sort of Monza kind of Imola, really long high-speed straights. That's going to be interesting to see who comes out top of the speed traps.
Definitely, yeah. I think it's going to have a big impact on the results. There's a lot of quite sort of fast-looking corners out there as well. Obviously, there's quite a few really long radius corners as well. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen with tyre wear, but it'll be interesting to see, because obviously with these, there's 2 or 3 massive long corners there. So you know, you could see towards the end of the races front-wheel drive's dropping away and BMW's coming back, but like so far this season, every time we thought that's going to happen, it doesn't seem to happen as effectively as we thought.
Well, it's not even this season, it's every year since time immemorial. Oh, we're going to have no tyres left after 4 laps, no brakes left after 4 laps, and in the end, of course, you know, it's like Sebastian Vettel at Monaco with no tyres left. If you're in the lead or if you're in a race, you put up with stuff that you would never even countenance driving on in free practice. But it's not free practice, it's about track position, it's about the race. So you're right, it is going to be high tyre wear. How high remains to be seen. There is Zoltan Zengo, the man behind Zengo Motorsport, running Norbert Mikulits. He leads the Yokohama Independence Trophy pile. Didn't have a great race weekend in Japan, and with double points on offer for both races in Macau for the Independence only, he needs to make sure that he is still very much a front runner, because you don't want to go to Macau and have a problem. Your rivals will be right on top of you. Ivan Muller on the first hot lap. This is through the little gooseneck that is turns 1, 2 and 3. And seeing how much these cars move around as he turns off the Grand Prix circuit there and through the little shortcut, seeing how much these cars move around in that sort of long, swiveling turn 1, 2 and 3. Can't imagine how a Formula 1 car finds grip there, because these cars move around a lot.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shot there, the car just sliding on the exit of the corner, and it just shows how well Chevrolet have got this car set up. You know, it's to get the rear moving that late in the corners, like absolutely ideal really. It just allows you to get on full throttle much sooner than if it was understeering.
Well, of course, oversteer like that in a rear-wheel drive car is bad news, because that's where the drive comes from. In a front-wheel drive car, the only thing you're worried about is where the front wheels are pointing. So if you can get the rear to over-rotate, to turn around the corner more than the nose, it means that you have to do less steering with the front wheels, and that makes it easier. If you're not steering, they can put more power on the road or more braking onto the road, and of course it also makes the tyre life a little easier as well. Well, Muller's on his own. Huff is towing the queue of cars. He's got Tom Coronel, Stefano D'Aste, Alberto Cerchi in that little queue.
It's interesting that Muller's gone on his own there. I mean, I don't know if that says something about some internal politics, but I would have thought this would have been the perfect track for all 3 Chevys to gang up together and do a bit of towing with each other, but obviously it seems like Ivan's got other ideas on that and fancies just going alone.
Well, they could certainly do with finding some playmates, couldn't they? I mean, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that you could still set pole with a lap on your own, because you've got to, everybody else has got to guarantee to get a time. There's Chris Cronin, his engineer. Rob Huff comes across the line faster, and I was about to say maybe Huff, even though he's got a couple of cars behind him, will go quicker, because as a group those cars will actually go quicker than one car on its own. Even though Huff is breaking the air aerodynamically, there's an odd effect of having somebody taking up your turbulence, if you like. This sort of slightly reduces the drag on your car as well. So a group of cars goes quicker than one on its own, but he's now dropped Tom Coronel. Little adjustments inside the cockpit from Alain Menu. He was on pole last time, and wow, 3/10 quicker this time. And that final sector, so Menu goes faster than Huff by 73 thousandths in total. It is Menu, Huff and Muller at the moment. Coronel 4th, Colin Turkington 5th. Menu fastest man on the first run. It looks as though Muller is still on a quick lap. Personal best in the first sector, although not an outright best. Huff also quicker, or quicker than he has gone, but not quicker than Menu has gone. I'm sure Alain Menu will go for a second lap as well. Maybe not all the way through, but Harry, it is a brand new circuit. They've never raced here before, so it's vital, even if you're coming in to change onto fresh rubber, that you push hard. You can learn something with every metre that you drive.
Yeah, it was interesting. Menu saying after the free practice sessions that there's a lot of improvement coming out of the drivers here because they're all learning the circuit, and between probably most importantly between free practice 0 and free practice 2, he said there's a massive change in the way that the cars react on the surface, and it must be temperature difference or humidity or whatever it is. The car it's a moving target, so yeah, it's every time they're on the track it's like a new start.
Wrapped up in the back of the garage is Justine, Ivan's fiance. Here he is, working hard for a living. Alain Menu on pole at the moment from Huff, Muller, Coronel, Turkington. Turks looking very quick in that Chevy Cruze. It's an RML built car. RML? Yeah, that's right. I'm not sure what I thought RLM for the reason. Run by West Surrey Racing, but I'm sure a lot of Malik engineering going into that, because of course Dick Bennett has plenty of BMW experience, but not so much with the Chevy Cruze, as in none so far. On board with Thiago Monteiro in the points in both races in Japan, 10th place finish in both races, and for those of you who didn't see the Inside World Touring Car programme a couple of days after it, it's a very emotional weekend for everybody involved in that programme. Of course, it started at Suzuka, which is Honda's home circuit. It's not just in their home country, it's a track that Honda actually had designed, built and owned. And so a massive, massive step back into international touring car racing for Honda, and to get in the points sort of ticked their box for these final 3 race weekends of year one. Basically, you know, this is ground zero for them, and to show competitive speed as they did in a car that frankly was at the start of the weekend evil, to say the very least. If you didn't understand anything in the sort of French-Italian conversations they were having, the words snap and oversteer were predominant from Thiago Monteiro, and they managed somehow to chase that out of the car as the race weekend went along to get him something that he could just about get to grips with. There's Giancarlo Bruni, and I'm sure we will see him in a Honda jacket next year, as Gabriele Tarquini will start his campaign for Honda at the beginning of 2013. He's already been signed up earlier in the year. So penultimate race weekend for them. Thiago Monteiro 21st at the moment, in amongst the new boys. We've got 2 ENGs in the championship as well. So we've got Charles Eng, who's been with us all season long. And we have Eng Kin Veng from Macau, who's in a Chevy Lachetti, one of the 2 China Dragon Racing Chevy Lachettis. The other one is the ex-Harry Volkart chassis, Felipe Clemente de Souza. Those drivers in that team, both from Macau, and reflecting Macau's sort of split personality, one with a very Chinese name, the other one with a very Portuguese name, and it was a Portuguese colony in the same way that Hong Kong was a British colony, which has now reverted to Chinese ownership. There's Alex McDowell, very quick in the testing session, or FP0 as the teams would have it, and the Chevys, yeah, looking very strong no matter who you're with at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you've only got to look at Turkington. It's his first time in a front-wheel drive car, and you know, since 2006, I believe, and you know, he's right up there, straight on it, and all credit to him, really. You know, it's obviously he's a vastly experienced driver, but you know, to jump in a completely foreign car and on a new circuit, and you know, let's not forget he hasn't driven either for probably a good few months.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Getting on for a year, probably.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it just shows how strong these cars are, really.
Yeah, and actually, just I think him and the family, particularly, are very unused to him being away. I think that was a bit of a wrench at the beginning of the week, waving him goodbye. But very good indeed to see him back, and I'm sure that he would love to be in this championship full-time. I mean, who wouldn't as a touring car driver? There's lots and lots, I know, racing all over the place that would love to be here. Well, a lot of cloud overhead. It is pretty cool and a little bit smoggy. Still dry, though. And there is Turkington's car waiting to go out. You saw all the Seats going out as a clump. Gabriele Tarquini's red and white car leading Pepe Oriola. And behind him, the identical car, thanks for that, of his teammate Fernando Monche. couple of Chevys creeping around the back. Franz Engstler was on the back of that queue as well. Engstler could really do with a good weekend here to get right back into contention for the Yokohama Trophy against Norbert Mikelitz. Not out of the running, but it's Mikelitz, Oriola and Stefano D'Aste who lead the way. Tom Baldwin is the only special tuning car this weekend. They haven't found an occupant for their second chassis. It may well be that that does have a driver in, though, for the season finale in Macau in 3 weeks' time. Ivan Muller, Rob Huff getting ready for their second qualifying run. Teammate Alain Menu is fastest at the moment. Mehdi Benani and the orange and black car of Norbert Mikelitz also waiting to go out. A lot of interested spectators in the pit lane wearing racing overalls. A lot of the Chinese touring car drivers are in here having a look at what is basically the benchmark as far as touring car championships go. Looking at the machinery, and who knows, there might be some deals for cars going on for next year's Chinese Touring Car Championship. Gabriele Tarquini then on a flyer, and not beyond the bounds of possibility that this car could end up on pole position either. You might think that it's all about Chevrolet, but in terms of the speed traps, fastest 4 or 5 cars in the quickest free practice session included James Nash's Ford, third quickest through the speed traps. All right, admittedly, over 2 kilometres down on the fastest top speed of a Chevrolet, but nevertheless, the Seats were in there as well, and Thiago Montero's Honda was 4th quickest in a straight line. So again, not much wrong with the engine in this car, certainly not much wrong with the engine in the Honda, as you might hope from a Mugen-tuned engine.
No, exactly, it bodes well, and obviously Mugen have got tons and tons of experience of building similar type of engines, so you know, it's no major surprise that they're up there, but obviously it's a new challenge for them, so to be straight up there from day dot, that's really good.
Good news too as well for Dave Mountain and the Mountune boys is that the engine in the Ford is clearly capable of hauling the Focus along very quickly in a straight line, because again, James Nash, you know, it's at the end of sector 2, the long fast sectors of the track, that he set that, or end of sector 3, in fact, the start-finish line, he got that speed. So going very quickly through that section as well, and it means that clearly the Ford is being pulled along quickly, and that means hopefully that they will continue to make progress. Ford and Honda coming in with a very much more restricted set of rules than all the other cars on the grid when they were designed. I mean, the Seat's been going since year dot, and the same with the BMW, and the Chevy Cruze as well had a lot of waivers when it was being developed, but the FIA have really tightened that up. So Ford and Honda are, to a degree, the rule book is the same, but the amount of leeway they've been given to adjust their car to kind of make it competitive is different. So Ford and Honda are playing to a slightly different set of rules, you could argue, to the more established cars.
It's a great shot of Tarquini on board there. You can see how physical it is in these cars. You can see him bouncing around, and it looks like he's just sort of vibrating a bit, but he'll be holding on with all his stomach muscles, his arms, his legs. You can just see him really getting chucked around in there, and just shows the car bouncing around and hopping, and it's quite interesting to see those kind of shots.
Looking now at the Honda of Thiago Montero, and as you can see, just outside, I was going to say 13th, but in fact he's been shoved down to 14th place now by Fernando Monche. Just outside the top 12, there's the car's designer. The Yasport team also designed the Accord Euro R that has been run here this weekend and was quite successful over the previous years. There's a combination of Italian, French and English being spoken among the team.
There's not many improvements going on lap time wise throughout the grid. I think everyone seems to have done a lap really early on. Duda Carlo and McDowell have just improved, but other than that it seems fairly static after the initial lap.
Yeah, McDowell 6th quickest behind Tarquini and Coronel, who are 5th and 4th. And then the top 3, the blue and white Chevy Cruzes. Montero finding traffic there, ironically from Tarquini, I think. Yes, it was. Just caught the Lukoil car in slightly the wrong place. One of the Hondas going around there. James Nash is 18th at the moment. And Tom Chilton 22nd. My goodness, 2.6 seconds off the fastest lap for Chilton, 1.3 for Nash. So they need to buddy up together and try and tow each other around. Looking there at the yellow and red car of the Macau Touring Car Championship leader, Kelvin Leong Ian Veng, in his Honda Accord Euro R. That's what Hondas used to look like about 3 or 4 years ago when they were being raced regularly in the World Touring Car Championship. The new one there, the new Civic. Civic celebrating 40 years of manufacture. Goodness, who's got a Generation 1 Civic? They've been going for a very long while.
You can see Menu there, he's obviously right on the edge. Is he up on his previous best? I don't think he is.
The timing screen isn't showing it at all. I mean, he's there, but it's not showing any time at all. So this is an out lap. Well, the last lap was an out lap, maybe.
Yeah.
So this should be him up on time. Now that's a personal best again. He's really getting a lot out of the car at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, you can see him. He's right on the edge there, sliding around and drifting up the lines. And
he's got a new engineer this year, Albert Lau, and I was talking to Alain a couple of races into the season. I said, how's it going, you know, because Albert's, you know, fresh to the World Touring Car Champion. He said, really great. He's just bringing a whole kind of new look at things. He's not got preconceived ideas, and he keeps throwing in new ideas, and he said it's just rejuvenating me completely. Unfortunately, what it hasn't done is turn around Alain's fortunes. It's always been the case that if one of the 3 Chevys seems to be getting the bum's rush, the rough end of the luck, it always habitually seems to be Menu. But he has certainly got a lot of pace.
Albert actually, was he Turkington's engineer in British touring cars?
That's a very good question.
I think he was certainly with WSR. I'm not sure if he was.
I should know this, and I can't remember. I think you might well be right, actually. Oh, fastest first sector of all from Rob Huff, as Menu comes across the line to go quicker again. Huff is on a pole position lap in the first sector. Thiago Monteiro comes out of the pit lane. 14th at the moment, battling for a place in the top 12 to go through into Q2. Those with red or silver, or I suppose that's white, isn't it, backgrounds to their numbers in your scoring tower on the left, they will go through. Anybody outside the top 12 will not. Apologies, by the way, for lots of sniffling. Harry and I are both in the middle of proper man flu.
It's definitely worse than normal flu.
Yeah. And look at Banani as well. 45 thousandths up in the first sector. That's a very fast lap for the BMW driver. So who is going quicker? Rob Huff's second sector, not a personal best even. So is that lap drifting away from him? Has he got caught in traffic? We're not seeing it at the moment, but on our timing screens, Coronel goes faster in a first sector, Turkington faster in a first sector, Huff's on pole at the moment, and I do think it's going to be a one lap tyre here, because it is such a long lap.
It certainly seems to be the case, doesn't it? We saw those lap times fall in the initial lap, in the opening lap, and nothing's really happened until now. And we've got a few people on personal best. Michelitz and Coronel both looking good, and Turkington's also looking strong in sector 1 and 2.
Michelitz has gone 4th quickest, Turkington 3rd quickest, ahead of Ivan Muller, who did set a better lap. There is Turkington. Muller did set a better lap, but it was not good enough. Now, that's what Huff needs. OK, now let's get well, for race 1, that's what he needs. Get a couple more cars in front of Ivan, get Ivan starting further back. Of course, in race 2, they will, well, of course, we've got to get into Q2 yet, so let's not get overexcited. But Huff and Muller both need to put some space between each other. Following your rival is not going to do it here. That's a good lap for Colin Turkington. And as you said, 6 years he's been driving BMWs and not driven a front-wheel drive car. To get into something that is very different from the end of the Super Tourer era, that's impressive stuff. And again, you know, there's Dick Bennett. He'll be, come on, Dickie, smile. He'll be fairly happy with that. They've got themselves very firmly at the top end of the field. Of course, you've got a quality driver in a quality car, so you would expect that, but there's no guarantee. No. There is no guarantee that Turks is going to get his head around it immediately. You know, he's had a day in the car this year, so that's impressive.
Yeah, definitely, and I don't even know if he's even sat in it. I don't know if he's done a shakedown or anything, but, you know, that's really impressive.
No, I think he just drove yesterday, and that was it.
You can see how hard Monteiro's working at that wheel there. It's obviously he's struggling a little bit with grip and trying to get that thing working right, but it looked a bit of a handful in Suzuka, but obviously it was quite a short lap there, so he was fairly well on the pace, but it just looks like a handful to drive at the moment. But I'm sure
it is again, he was talking snap oversteer, and essentially what they tried to do was end up with a car that was less likely to spin on him, and so he was saying, you know, pretty much the oversteer and the understeer progressed at the same rate. And so in terms of overall balance in the race. The balance wasn't great, but it was at least consistent. You know, they managed to work out what was, frankly, a horrible-looking car in free practice and qualifying, and they managed to just moderate its behaviour a little. You know, there is a degree where Yas have been working with a bigger, longer, sort of four-door saloon, basically. They've got their little Civic Rally program, but that's, again, there's very different demands to a pucker, you know, circuit racing car, and so they've got a different wheelbase, a different length of platform, all sorts of different things to play with, and restrictions on what you can do with the suspension. Yeah. So, you know, you give it your best guess and you put it on track, and then you go testing, and that's all well and good. But then really, when you've got to qualify it, when you've really got to get something special out of it, as the checkered flag comes to end the session, and Montero is a long way down, 17th.
It looks very stiff, doesn't it? It looks like there's no compliance in the thing, and I'm sure they'll get on top of it, because obviously they've done that with the Euro Accord R back in the day. But like you said, it's a very different shape, and a longer wheelbase inherently means you get a bit more sort of slower movement. Obviously, it depends on what you do with the suspension, but it is easier to get a longer car to be more progressive than a short, narrow wheelbase thing.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, Freddie Bart, the Swiss driver, of course a regular in the championship for the last few years in Seat, makes a welcome return, and he is in 11th place. So again, might be a few cobwebs, but he's dusted them off to get himself into Q2. So it's Huff, Menu, Turkington, Muller, Michelitz, Coronel, Tarquini, McDowell, Oriola, Dudicalo, Bart and Daste, who go through. Banani just misses out. Dowlow Young, 14th, just misses out. James Nash, 15th, ahead of Fernando Monche, Thiago Montero and the rest. So from 13th down, which is Banani and O'Young will start 13th and 14th, right the way down to 28th. Those positions are set now for both races, unless something happens and you get sent to the back of the grid. For the top 12 drivers, we now go out and do, well, probably in 10 minutes, just one lap. Stop playing Space Invaders. We've got some qualifying to do. It is probably going to be one single lap, isn't it? And again, although we've got two very long straights here, it doesn't look as though there is going to be a lot of towing of teammates. Certainly among the three blue Chevy cars, it's each to his own. Yeah,
maybe that's an internal policy, because they're all out for each other. So perhaps they've decided that they'll just go out and do their own thing, and you know, it's understandable, I guess. But I think it's worth mentioning James Nash has done a pretty good lap there. He's almost a second and a half faster than Chilton, and you know, it's maybe showing that they're getting on top of that Ford.
The WTCC is brought to you by Euronics, best of electronics.
ATS high-tech wheels, world champions with Chevrolet.
If you're going go-kart, get a Dino. After 50 years in the business, Dino go-karts are still some of the best in the world. See more on dino.dk.
Shanghai. There are many reasons to visit the cultural center of Eastern Asia and China's most vibrant city. And this November, there's yet another. The FIA World Touring Car Championship debuts at the Shanghai International Circuit. Come and share the excitement of a weekend of unforgettable racing in an unforgettable city. The FIA WTCC in Shanghai, from the 2nd to the 4th of November.
Japan quality. Yokohama, your tire.
Welcome back to Shanghai. Just about to get into Q2 without Thiago Montero. He's down in the pit lane with Ben Constangira, so let's catch up with him as the cars head out on circuit.
a car which sneaked into qualifying 2 on its debut in Suzuka, but it hasn't managed it here. Tiago, what's the difference?
The track is obviously very different. I mean, we are still discovering a lot of things with the car. As we always say, there is a very good potential, but we need to learn and to evolve, you know. Obviously, the track is very different. It just didn't work out here. Again, the chassis is not bad at all. You know, the performance overall is not bad at all. There is a very good potential. We just need to exploit it and to learn how to use it better. I did 2 decent laps, but we're just not there yet.
Commiserations.
I cannot complain about a particular thing, you know. It's just an overall that we need to develop. It's part of the game. That's why we're here, you know, to learn and to go at different tracks and understand the pros and cons at every track.
Thanks very much.
We'll keep working.
Well, it is, you know, Suzuka was day 1, wasn't it? You know, we are in the second race weekend for a brand new program, and it's not like they've come in having done lots of touring car racing in national championships with the car. It is a new program, new car, new design, so it is absolutely starting from scratch. And you sort of forget that when Chevrolet came, they were right at the back of the field, dragging it, well, not right at the back of the field, but they were certainly off the front running pace, dragging their way up the order gradually year by year, because we've got used to sort of seeing them being at the top of the pile.
Yeah, it probably took till the end of 2007, really, till you started seeing Chevrolet kind of building on and making some success for themselves, and that's from 2005 when they entered the championship. And I think from all accounts that car in the early years was a real dog, and you know, it's understandable. It's a brand new car, it's a first day at school sort of thing.
Well, they came into a championship where BMW and Alfa Romeo were definitely very firmly established. Same with Seat. They came in, didn't they, with a saloon, and then that became the hatchback that we're still seeing now, the Leon. And again, you know, for them, as we see Daryl O'Young there, pondering what might have been, perhaps. Excuse me.
Yeah, Daryl's sort of second home circuit as well at Shanghai. Obviously, he's a Hong Kong national, and it's not a million miles away, I guess, on the world ski.
Exactly right, exactly right. So now then, we have 12 fast drivers, all looking for a place, well, on pole, obviously. Freddie Bart amongst them. Good lap from the Swiss. And Rob Huff was fastest in the first session from Alan Menu and Colin Turkington. Muller was 4th quickest. Who else have we got? Top independent and top BMW was Norbert Mikulec, just ahead of Tom Coronel. Gabriele Tarquini, Alex Dudicalo, Pepe Oriola, Freddie Bart, 4 Seats in there. Stefano D'Aste's BMW, as well as Coronel and Mikulec. But predominantly, lots of Chevys in there. 5 of the 12 were Chevrolet cars, so that's not too bad, and 4 of the top 4 were also Chevrolet cars. Fastest first sector at the moment, it may come as no surprise to anybody given how combative he is from Ivan Muller. Now the question is, Harry, we've seen that everybody apart from Huff, who did 7 laps, basically among the front runners, did just 6 laps in that Q1. That's an out lap, a fast lap and an in lap on each set of tyres. Huff is now fastest in second sector.
He's right on him in there.
Oh, Menu's gone quicker there. Menu third back in that queue, maybe just benefiting a fraction from Alex McDowell being in front of him.
Yeah, I think, well, if there's any advantage, we'll see it here. Certainly, he's now on the back straight, just behind Alex, and this is where you're going to see the effect of the toe. And you can see Menu's first sector is pretty much back. Well, all 3 work Chevrolets all bang on each other. Yeah, they're pretty much trading blows in sector 2.
Well, this is going to be it, isn't it? There is not going to be, realistically, a second lap, I don't think. And Huff goes fastest then. He's the first across the line. 154.5. Menu goes quicker. And Mikulec is second. Muller is second ahead of Mikulec and Huff and Oriola. And McDowell is in 7th place. Menu's on pole from Muller, Mikulec and Huff at the moment. Mikulec pulls out of the way immediately. He's keeping those tyres, not going to do 1 corner more on them than he needs to. On board with Turks, he comes across the line. Oh, where did he go to? 5th fastest. Gabriele Tarquini still on a flying lap. He is not challenging for pole at the moment. What's happened to that? He's not on track. No, he's not. He's in the pits. He scrubbed that and came in. 4 minutes, he's got to get out, get around, and get a fast lap. Now that is a fresh left front and a fresh left rear.
I wonder if he's had some massive vibration or something where just thought he'd better come in and not risk the car too much. It seems a bit strange to do.
Is that a whole set of news, or are they playing the swapping tyres game?
It seems strange to do that, really.
And they're making a wing adjustment as well. Now, are they taking more wing off? Yes, they are. They're going for negative lift at the back. You see the pressure there to get this. Look at that wing, Harry.
Yeah.
That is trying to lift the car at the back, not push it back down.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be lifting the suspension at the rear if that does much.
That's a James Thompson setup. Well, Ivan Muller, the world champion, and joint points leader, is second. Menu, at the moment is fastest. Can Tarquini do anything about it?
It comes back to what Menu was saying this morning. You know, the track's changing on every lap, every run. The track is totally different. So maybe that's what we've seen there with Gabrielli. Perhaps he's decided to make a few tweaks after his out lap, and after the end of the first part of qualifying, maybe the track's changed that much.
Now, Freddie Bart, who went out behind him in that white car, has not set a time at all. So at the moment would start 12th in both races. 11th and 12th. At the end of this session is where the 11th and 12th place drivers will start for both races. 1 to 10 will start 1 to 10 in race 1, and then 10 to 1 in race 2. At the moment, Alexei Dudicalo is on pole for race 2 because he's 10th for race 1, and Menu is on pole for race 1 and would start 10th for race 2.
Oh.
Well, that's probably not helping his race tyres much, but he was at least staying out of the way. Who's that whistled by? That was Coronel. So Tom's not on a flyer. He's done 3 laps already, although actually he did look to be... Okay, I'm saying he's not, but he might be actually trying to get another lap in.
It's fairly racy there. He may have started the lap with just checking the sector times, and if he's up, he's decided to keep pushing.
Well, he's not on a personal best lap. It's no better than anything he's done before. It's certainly not going green. Tarquini, however, might be when he comes around. He'll certainly be shooting for a front row position. Freddie Bart is setting his first time at a session as you saw Rob Huff get out. 4th place means he'll be 7th in race 2, with Menu in 10th and Muller in 9th.
Freddie Barth's done well to get into the second part of qualifying. I'm not sure if I'm sure he's done it in the past, but it certainly wasn't a regular thing. And for his first comeback race again, hasn't raced for probably getting on for a year now, so that's pretty impressive. Must be back in fairly familiar territory, although he's not raced with that new engine, with the Orica built engine at all. He had the Sunred engine last time he was racing. A lot of Movember action going on with moustaches up and down the paddock. Saw Rob Huff's dad Peter with a full goatee already. Now, the whole Movember thing is you're supposed to start on November the 1st clean shaven, so I think perhaps some of them might have had a bit of a run up, because it did look a bit more than 3 days growth. Rob's doing something for charity this weekend, and into Macau as well for Movember. So he's raising money for it's to raise awareness and to raise finances and awareness of prostate cancer, which is one of the biggest killers among men. And they saw Alemenu looking at the timing screen. Tarquini, fastest 2nd and 3rd sector. Now, this is his flying lap, so he was definitely building up to speed. Had a great chance to see the car on its own. And this is Alexei Dudicalo. So Duda's going for another lap, because he's just kind of meandering about. This is his 4th lap, but pitching the car over those curbs. You can hear how early they can get on the throttle there. That's obviously this little straight here opens up quite early on, but shows the difference in the compliance. When we saw the Honda before, you could hear them on and off the throttle, and you could see it squirming all over the place. But the Chevy and the Seat through there, they just pick up the throttle so early, and they're on full throttle really soon in the corner. Well, Tarquini is lapping. Would be slightly more interesting to see him, I have to say. He and Freddie Bart both on personal best 2nd sectors. So they are 11th and 12th at the moment. Here we go. On board with Gabriele Tarquini. Alexei Dudicalo may set a better time, but at the moment isn't necessarily going to challenge for pole. There's the man who may well start on pole position, Alemenu. And he's not watching Gabriele, because basically whatever happens, happens. Gabriele out of the hairpin, bouncing over the curbs.
It's interesting to see, isn't it? I mean, the driver feels none of this because you're just so focused on what you're doing, but interesting to see how much his body has moved around. Checkered flag is out, so he got that lap in just in time, but it's only enough to put him in 9th. Now, that's the outside front row for race 2, but race 1, 9th place for Tarquini. Whatever they were doing didn't work. And Freddie Bart starts 12th, Dudicalo 11th. There's Aluminiu, our pole man on the right-hand side in the garage. So that now brings him level with Ivan Muller this season in terms of poles. Muller's had 3, that is Menu's 3rd. It's his 2nd in 2 race meetings, and there's his engineer, Albert. Well, Hong Kong Chinese, based in the UK, went to college in California. Everywhere you go, goes, oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I know this place. Yeah, went to University of Southern California, Berkeley. In fact, when we were in Sonoma, quite a few drivers had local connections, having done race schools there. Darrell O'Young was one of those. One of the first times he drove racing cars was at Sonoma. Tom Coronel there, and he will start on pole for race 2. Now, of course, he was well up on the race 2 grid in Japan, his home from home, his second home, was really hoping for another Japanese race win, stalled at the start, could not be consoled with that. However, if he can start on pole here and race away and claim victory in China, then that would be a little bit of recompense. But for him, winning in Japan would be as big a deal as winning at home in Holland, and he didn't get the opportunity the one year we went to Zandvoort with the championship. So he's 10th place race 1 and pole for race 2. And as you say, Harry, it's going to be interesting to see how the rear drive versus front drive tyre balance works. Let's hear from our pole man.
When most people are focusing on your teammates, you once again have proved that you can still be a part of this championship.
Yeah, and I am. I don't know why people focus on the other two. Yes, they have more points than me, but it's not over yet. And I'm on a roll, yes, so you know, everything is going well.
You told us that the circuit was a tricky circuit. How have you found that lap? Obviously a very good one.
Yeah, no, it's a good lap. I made 2 small mistakes, but it's again, it's one of those tracks where it's very easy to make a mistake. The key is to make as few mistakes as possible and not to lose too much time. And it just worked. Yeah, we are not that much faster than Yvon, but it was enough.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers.
Not that much, 26 thousandths. And Alan, if you stop telling people halfway through the season that realistically your championship is over and you're just going for race wins, then they'll stop getting the message and counting you out of the championship. You can't have it both ways. He does like a bit of a wind-up in an interview. Aluminiu starts on pole position then from Ivan Muller for race 1. Norbert Mikulits, Rob Huffs, 3rd and 4th. Colin Turkington, 5th, ahead of Stefano D'Aste. Sharing row 4, Pepe Oriola and Alex McDowell. So some interesting independent battles. Row 5, Tarquini and Coronel. Row 6, Dudicalo and Bart. Banani and O'Young. Row 7, ahead of, well, the rest of the field going all the way down the order. From 11th on down, that's where they will start for both races. Aluminiu heads out of the garage to the post-qualifying press conference. A little bit of a chat there with Ivan and Justine. You can see the temperature, everybody well wrapped up. It is November, let's not forget, and China renowned as not being in the southern hemisphere, so it's not the warmest of places. However, when they get to Macau, hopefully the weather will be warm and dry and sunny. The championship finale in a few weeks' time. Meanwhile, though, what a battle we've got on our hands. Now, after qualifying, the tie at the top of the championship, because the top 5 get points, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Muller is now slightly ahead of Huff by 2 points. And Menu has closed a fraction because he outscored Muller by 1. So he is not 38, but 37 points behind. 105 points remain on offer for the 4 remaining races and 1 qualifying session. In the main championship, different in the independence category, of course, don't get points for qualifying, and they get 10, 8, 6, and so on in this race weekend. For each of the races in Macau, however, it is double bubble, so too many more points for my head to get around with the amount of blockages we've got. So that is qualifying then, and don't forget, morning warm-up and both races on Eurosport on Sunday, and that will be Sunday morning in Europe, Central European Time, GMT. It's quite early, we're saying. 6:15, I believe, GMT will be coming on air on Sunday morning. Harry Folkard will be awake, I'll be awake, and I'm expecting that you will be awake to join us as well. So confirmation, if you're watching Central European Time, 7:15, that's 6:15 Zulu, so UK, Ireland, Portugal, and the like. Wherever else you are in the world, you can translate that into your own national time zone. So 6:15 Greenwich Mean Time is when we'll start with the morning warm-up and then straight into both races from China. So that then is it from Harry Folkard, from me, Martin Haven, the rest of the World Touring Car production team in China. It's a good afternoon to you. Join us tomorrow, please, for the morning warm-up and rounds 21 and 22 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. Until then, goodbye for now.